Just about time to start. Good morning. This is perfect weather out here today. It's 63 about an hour ago when I went out with the dog, and the moon, it's a little past the full moon. I think full moon was 2 days ago, but it was gorgeous up over there. I'm pretty sure there were two planets. In fact, I can still see one over there. I've got to look that up and see what I'm seeing in the morning. It was very pretty. A few little clouds, but it's cooler and it's much less humid right now. Good morning for a yoga practice. So we'll see. I mean, it's late now this week. We'll see what happens next week. I have some floodlights on the deck. I turned them on while I was setting up this morning. I don't know, the backlit effect of the deck light up there might not help us see if it gets too dark. So we'll see. Who knows where I'll show up tomorrow or next week, next Friday. Well, happy Friday before our last summer holiday. Summer's wrapped up. September's here. Very unusual summer, but it has just come and gone. Despite everything that goes on around us, the wheel of life just keeps turning. And if you're a child of the 70s, that probably will bring back a memory of a song, The Wheel in the Sky keeps on turning. So we're actually going to start in a standing position briefly this morning. So I'd like you to come to the top of your mat, finding Tadasana. And take a couple steps here, rounding down through the feet. Finding that alignment without forcing. Hummingbirds here already. Without forcing any stiffness, just like a flower opening up in the morning. Find that reaching up sensation through the crown of the head, and at the same time you're still grounded through the feet. Bring one hand to the low belly and one to the heart. In Tai Chi, we call this the lower Dantian, and this is the middle Dantian. These are energy centers in the body. Breathe. In through your nose, out through your nose. If it feels good to sway a little bit this morning, do that. Here comes the sprinkler system. I hope I'm out of its lineup shot. I think I am. You might not be able to see it, but you can probably hear it. And then come to stillness. Feel all four corners of the feet and press down into those places. Balance equally left and right, but evenly across the surface of both feet. Tailbone is very heavy. Release any tension in your glutes. The sternum and the chest is lifted ever so slightly. And the crown of the head is definitely lifted. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And let the hands release, shake the arms. Now we're going to go to our back. I think I might have gotten my mat a little bit sprinkled there. Oh well, no worries. The water element will join us today. Lie down on the back. And arms at the sides. Walk your feet wide. We'll come to constructive rest pose just for a moment. And while we're here, let's return one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And breathe. Watching some birds up there. Wake up. Heck, they're probably going to wake a long time. Flying overhead, a few little clouds going by. Everything just keeps going. And then bring the arms down to the sides. Now I want you to draw your knees into your chest. Apanasana. If it feels good to draw the chin up towards the chest, lifting the nose to the knees, do that. Maybe a little up and down with that, waking up the spine.
Exhale as you reach the nose towards the knee, coming into that little bit of a crunch, and then inhale as you release it by now. Now float both feet to the mat, keeping the knees bent. Keep the left foot down. Draw the right knee towards the chest. Do some circling through the hip. Going one way, maybe you're moving through that ankle too. And then the other. Draw that knee in tight. Nice squeeze. If you still want to rise up and reach the nose towards the knee, that's fine. And then back down. And we're going to come into happy baby. Just a nice waking up happy baby. So work your way into a deeper opening, a deeper stretch. Be kind to the hip. But start to insist that the hip wakes up a little bit. Feeling the sensation. If the hand makes it down to the sole of the foot, use your hand to spin the toes outward a bit. And draw the knee down towards the earth. Soften through the right or the left shoulder. Let that shoulder just tumble down. Maybe even lifting the shoulder and tucking the shoulder blade underneath the back. And then work to straighten that right leg a little bit. Just a little bending and straightening. Back to the center and drop that foot. Oh, before you drop it, draw it in one more time. So draw it in and roll up. And then back down. Second side, keep the right foot down. Draw the left knee in. And take the left hand to guide the hip into some morning circles, morning range of motion. Move through the ankle. Wiggle the toes. And then draw the knee in tight, curl up, and down. And then work your way into your waking up happy baby. Waking up the baby, half of the baby at a time, I guess. Remember to turn the toes outward. That helps the knee. Ease your way into a deeper stretch. No pain. Give the body time to invite you a little deeper. And then maybe a straightening and flexing at the knee. And release that knee. Drop both knees in this time and curl up. And bring the back down. Arms out to the sides. Bring the soles of the feet back to the ground. Pause here just for 2 breaths or so. I'm going to take my right knee over my left, like I'm sitting in a chair, eagle legs. Crossing the legs. I'm going to drop the knees to the left. And take the gaze to the right. And then start to notice the sensation in the right arm, right shoulder, and play with that. Maybe reaching the arm up higher. Breathe into the right side body. Maybe wiggle some fingers, circle the wrist. Inhaling back to center, uncross the legs and take the second side. Left knee over the right and dropping the knees to the right. And if that's too intense, keeping the legs crossed, you can always just stack the knees. Now bring that left arm up, finding some stretch, finding some sensation. Try to drop that left shoulder down, taking the gaze to the left, feel the stretch in the neck. Nice deep inhale, feeling the stretch in the left ribs. And then unwind and come to the center. Let's rock and roll along the length of the spine. We'll do 5. Up onto the sit bones and eventually come to a seated position. So up and back.
Try to balance on your sit bones. I've got one more. And then rise up to seated. Sit nice and tall here. Bring the hands to the lap with the palms up or to the knees if you're in Sukhasana. You can also be seated on your shins if you want here. We're in Dandasana with the legs long, whatever works best for your back. You can always bring a prop underneath the sit bones. Now let's find Jnana Mudra, so touching tip of the index finger to tip of the thumb. Us here to experience the sensation in this new relationship to gravity that we're in with a mudra for wisdom. We can always use a little more of that. The world needs a little more wisdom. Inhale and exhale. Two more breaths here in this shape. Open the eyes if they're closed. We're going to take a simple seated twist, taking the left hand to the right knee. We're going to swing the right hand back behind the hips. Bring the fingertips to the mat, like the eagle talon that we did a few weeks ago. So swing the arm back, really open through the right chest. Push the fingertips into the mat to help you lift up. But don't let that make your shoulders scrunch up towards your ear. Push your shoulder down. Over the right shoulder. Every inhale reminds you to sit tall. And every exhale, maybe a little more twist. Two more breaths here. Third inhale, swing your right arm up and around, and we'll take the second side. Twisting to the left, fingertips of the left hand, press down like an eagle talon behind you. Let the push of the hands, one into the knee, one into the mat, help lift you up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. And draw your left shoulder back. Now feel the shoulder blade come towards the spine. Feel the right shoulder blade wrap towards the armpit. Feel the breath in the belly. Two more breaths here. And on your third inhale, swing that arm, reach up and face forward. Now lean back a bit and plant both feet on the mat, hip distance apart with the knees and the ankles. And let's just wrap and kind of curl up. Sometimes we call this embryo pose. Curl, drop the chin to the chest. Breathe into the back body like you're sending the breath right down the spine, behind the heart, clear down to the tailbone, and it takes that same path back up and out. And then release and find tabletop, hands and knees. What's a yoga practice without a few cat and cow? Let's start with cow. Inhale. And exhale. Two more each way. And a nice neutral spine now. Tuck the toes, let's lift up into downward facing dog. But that nice morning downward facing dog where we wiggle and stretch and work out some kinks. And then come to stillness. Bend your knees a lot. Lay your belly on your thighs, and this feels good in the morning just to hold this. In fact, let's do that for a couple breaths. Nice, deep bend knees. Helps you kind of open out the muscles in the back along the spine with the breath. On your next inhale, bend the sit bones straight up as you reach down with your heels.
Fingers are spread wide. Bring your gaze to the top of the mat and tiptoe, little baby steps. You can cross at the ankles if that feels good, or just a nice walk to the top. And when you get here, plant your feet right under the knees, right under the hips. Lay the belly down on the thighs. Keep the knees bent a lot. Grab opposite elbows in. Hang. Drape the torso over the thighs. So the weight of the arms and the weight of the head just opens up space in the ribs in the back and the spine. The breath just makes that nice. And start to sway. And come to stillness. Drop your hands. Bring your fingertips to the floor in front of you or the mat. Lift halfway up. So work to straighten the legs, but they might not be ready to straighten. They may not be ready to straighten the whole practice, but we're trying to stretch the hamstrings a little. Now fold forward again. Pull the feet away from each other. Swing your arms out and up. Reach, and then exhale. Draw the hands home to the heart. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Fingertips can be on the shin. Exhale, fold. Knees bent. Inhale, swing the arms out and up. And exhale, this time bring the arms out and down as the hands come home to the heart. Let's do a couple more sun breaths like that. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Lift halfway. Long spine. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Inhale, up. Turning the palms away from each other. Swing the arms down towards the sides and then right back in front of the heart. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Lift halfway. Oh, maybe you can straighten the legs a little more. Send the hips back, crown of the head forward. Exhale, surrender, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Inhale, up. Reach, maybe some back bending here. Turn the palms away from each other. Swing the arms out and down. Hands home to the heart. Sun salute A, Surya A. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Lift halfway. On an exhale, step back into plank. So the top end of a push-up. Let's hold here for 3 breaths. Shoulders are over wrists or maybe a little ahead of the wrists. If you need to drop one or both knees, feel free. 2 more breaths. Now wiggle those feet way back there. Drop the knees. And come to the chest and then the chin. Keep your bottom up in the air. Straighten out long here. Hands stay right by armpits. Lift up, baby cobra. Let's do 4 more of those little cobras. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. 3 more. Last one. And float the nose back down. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Look forward. Walk your way forward. Maybe the steps are a little bigger this time. Plant the feet hip distance. Lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Swing the arms out and up. Maybe a back bend. Turn the palms away from each other. Arms come down. Circling back to Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Let's do another one. Inhale out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step back into plank. Holding plank again for 3. Coming to the mat with knees, chest, and chin. Bottom stays up. Stretch out. How about 4 baby cobras? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let that come down. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. And walk forward. Arrive on an inhale, lift halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold, pull the feet away from each other, swing and reach the hands overhead. Turn the palms away, swing those arms down like you're coming through water. Bring your hands back home to the heart. All right, this time we're going to add on, inhale. And exhale, fold. Maybe the fold is with a little less bend in the knees. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step back into plank. And then come down either Chaturanga Dandasana, which means you bend at the elbows. Elbows go no further than halfway down, or the chest does. And then come to the tops of the feet, and let's come on to upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Swing your right leg back and up. Step forward. Stand the ball of the foot in the back. Make sure the feet are on railroad tracks and not on a tightrope where you have some trouble as you rise up later. Bring the fingertips to the mat, and we're going to stay in this shape. Fold it forward. Pull the front hip back and feel like you're trying to drag those back toes forward as you kind of sink down into this. Reaching through that back heel will bring a nice stretch to the calf muscle. 2 more breaths in this shape. On your next exhale, drop the back knee. A kneeling lunge. Bring the top of that back foot to the mat. Rise up. Circle the femur, the thigh bone, with your hands like it's a tree trunk. We're going to pull the hip back, and at the same time, the hands are going to resist and push the knee forward. Feel that space in the hip. Square the pelvis. Now keep that. Swing your arms up by your ears. Reach with the fingertips. You can stay here or lift the heart, lift the gaze, sink forward and down. Anjaneyasana. Keep drawing front hip back and back hip forward. And on your next exhale, bring the foot downward facing dog. Left leg back and up. Step forward. Railroad tracks. Follow the foot with the right leg. Fingertips that eagle talon. You can use blocks here as well. Drawing front hip back, trying to drag that back foot forward, not letting anything move, engaging muscles, isometric contraction. Breathe. And on your next exhale, drop the back knee. Top of the foot to the mat, and then rising up, circle the femur, pull the hip back as you draw the knee forward with the hands. Another isometric contraction. Keep that sensation in the hips. Swing the arms up by the ears. You can stay here or lift the heart, lift the gaze as the pelvis drops and sinks. Still have that engagement in the hips. That causes you to protect the hip flexors on the right side. We're stretching them deeply, and you don't want to just drop into the stretch without a little control. And exhale, frame the foot. Step back into plank. You can come down to the mat by bending your elbows and lifting up into high cobra or chaturanga dandasana. Flip to the tops of the feet, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, down dog. Look forward between the hands, work your way to the top. Plant the feet. Lift halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Swing the arms out and up. And exhale. Hands come to the heart. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Lifting halfway. Stepping back into plank. Chaturanga Dandasana, or come to the belly. Find your back bend, so up dog or high cobra. Tuck the toes, downward facing. Right leg back and up. Step forward. Setting up for warrior one, we're going to drop the left heel inward. So about a 45-degree angle to that back foot. Lift up. Hands to hips. Draw the front hip back, back hip forward. Kind of tuck the tailbone a little. It's less of a tuck and more of a heaviness. But keep reaching to the pinky toe edge of the back foot. Don't let the heaviness of the pelvis send you down into the inside of the left knee. Reach to the outside of the foot. Line that knee up. Hands to heart. Arms up. Take 2 breaths here. Shoulders away from the ears. And then maybe you lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exalted warrior. 2 more breaths. And exhale, fold. Step back and down dog. Second side, left leg back and up. Step forward. Set that back leg up, drop the heel inward, 45-degree-ish angle to the back foot, rise up. Hands to hips. Draw left hip back, right hip forward, and then reach to the pinky toe edge of that back foot. Squeeze the muscles of the thigh, to both thighs really, but especially the back thigh. That all protects the knee. Hands to heart. Warrior one, bring the arms up by the ears. Look down at that front knee. Make sure you can see your toes, at least the first 2 or 3, and that the knee is tracking right down the center of the foot. Lift the heart. Lift the gaze. Exalted warrior. And exhale, float the hands down. Plank. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Walk forward. Arrive on an inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Inhale, out and up. Turn the palms away from each other. Exhale, swing the arms down. And bring the hands home to the heart. Keeping one hand on the heart and one on the belly. Pause here and breathe. Maybe sway again. Try to remember what this felt like the first time and compare the sensations in the body, physical and energetic. Comparing then and now. And then work your way to stillness. Arms to the sides. Let's do a little balance. Bring the weight to the right leg. Arms out wide. Lift the left knee. Keep the foot flexed. Coming into a standing number 4. You can take the left hand down there and kind of remind that knee to open up. Keep this foot flexed. Protect the knee. Staying here or bringing hands to heart. Staying here or folding forward. Fine. Feel the stabilizers in the right ankle working. Now,
rise up and slide and cross the knees again. But bring the pinky toe edges of the feet together. And when I do this, I keep my knees bent a little, just a bit. And my left heel's lifted. If you can bring the sole of the foot to the floor, that's fine. Now we're going to fold forward here. Keeping some softness in the knees. Bring the fingertips down to the earth. Let the head hang. And then walk your fingertips over to the right corner of the mat and push your hips kind of to the back left corner. Breathe. Facing forward, fingertips to the earth. Uncross the legs. Plant the feet hip distance apart. Lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Inhale, up. Back bend here. Turn the palms away. Exhale, the arms down. Circle the hands in front of the chest. Anjali Mudra. Second side. Weight to the left. Right knee comes up. Flex the foot. Crossing the ankle. Pass this thigh so you can keep the foot flexed. Reach down there. Remind that knee to stay open. And maybe you stay here. Or maybe you fold. Or maybe you're somewhere in between. More breath. Now as you rise up, slide the pinky toe edges of the feet to meet. Now the knees are crossed. And the knees are bent a bit. As you fold forward, fingertips find the earth. Pausing here. And now walk your fingertips to the left corner of the mat at the top. And send your hips more to the right back corner. Let your head hang. Maybe even shake your head yes and no. Release the neck. Fingertips walk forward. Uncross the feet. Feet hip distance. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Step back. Come to table, and then we're going to come to a nice wide child's pose. Knees are wide, left and right edges, toes, big toes touch. Sink back into this child's pose. Bring the heart to the mat, forehead to the mat. Arms out long. It's just a nice, lazy, long arm. Placing the forearms down. Wiggle through the fingers. Let your exhale sink you lower into this. Happy puppy is an alternative with your bottom up. In any shape you take, let go. Just rest. Shoulders are heavy. And on your next inhale, press into table. Knees under hips, tuck toes, downward facing dog. And let's take maybe one or two big steps to the top of the mat. Lifting halfway. Exhale, fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Inhale, the arms up. Take a nice back bend. Turn the palms away from each other. Circle the arms down. And back around in front of the heart. Anjali Mudra. And release the hands down. So we're going to do several standing poses. So we'll be on our feet, working from one side, one end of your mat to the other. So you can see me. I'm going to work this way on my rose-colored mat back there. So if you want to turn your mat in that orientation, you can take a moment to do that, but you can always just stay this way. So I'll give you a couple breaths to decide what you want to do. And then I've got to make sure I am stepping back with the proper foot here. Okay, so I want you to step back with your left foot. So if you're at the top of your mat, you'll step back with your left foot. I've turned. I'm going to step back and open up. You can reach your arms out from shoulders. Look at the wrists. You need a nice wide stance here. Ankles under wrists, roughly. Take the hands to the hips here. Reaching again to the pinky toe edges of the feet, but pulling the feet away from each other. Feel that, engage the hips, support the knees. You have a little softness to the knees. And just pause and feel this. Shoulders are heavy. Crown of the head is light. Breathe. We're going to externally rotate the right foot, getting ready for warrior two. So the left leg can stay like it is, with the pinky toe edge of the foot parallel to that edge of the mat. Take your hands to your hips. You're still going to draw the right hip back just a bit and wrap the left hip forward, and then turn everything above that so it's parallel with the front edge of your mat, your new front edge of the mat. Bring your arms up to shoulder height. Bend into the right knee. Turn the gaze down the right fingertips. Shoulders are heavy. In fact, let the wrists kind of hang here. A little bend to the elbows. And then reach out through those fingertips. Spread the fingers wide. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears. Warrior two. Breathe. Three more breaths here. We're going to hold these standing poses a bit. So the first part of our practice was vinyasa. It was a flow practice, and this is more hatha. Bring your hands to your hips. Straighten the right knee. Come back to prasarada. Pinky toe edges square with the short edges of the mat. Make sure the feet are lined up. Mine are kind of out of alignment. Now we're going to go to the left. Externally rotate the left. Keep the right leg like it is. Take the hands to the hips. Now the left hip comes back a bit. Right hip wraps forward, but everything above that turns and faces this long edge of the mat. Bend into your knee. Look down at that knee. Make sure it's over your ankle. Swing your arms out and up. Take your gaze to your left fingertips. Drop the shoulders. Breathe. Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2. Keeping shoulders over hips. 2 more breaths. Take your hands to your hips, straighten the left leg, come back to prasarada stance. Make sure you're in prasarada. We're going to come to, gradually come into different shapes in prasarada padottanasana. So it's forward folding in prasarada stance. Pulling the feet away from each other, squeezing the thigh bones to the, or the thigh muscles. I always say bones first. Squeezing the muscles of the thigh to the bone. We're going to swing the arms up, maybe a little back bend here. Exhale, fold forward. You can soften through the knees. Bring your fingertips into that eagle talon shape. Wrists are under shoulders. So this is our halfway up stance when we're doing our sun breath. Pulling the feet away from each other. Open up through the sit bones. And there's a term for that in yoga. We call that blossoming the butt, blossoming the sit bones. You're opening up the sit bones. And as you do that, notice the inseam of your pants are rolling towards the back body. So you're internally rotating the thighs, making more space in the back. Heart's level, parallel with the floor. Reach to the crown of the head. Blossom the sit bones, but reach back with the thighs. Shoulders are away from the ears. Now as you exhale, bend the knees, take the hands to the hips. Keep pulling the feet away from each other. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, soften. Now we're going to be in this stance for a while. If you need a break, you can step your feet back together and kind of shake the legs out. The full expression of warrior two is with the thigh of the bent knee parallel to the mat. So if you want to come a little wider, that didn't happen the first time. I don't think it did. It's a nice wide stance. We're going to take warrior two again. Taking it to the right. Setting everything up, bending into that knee. And if you need to come a little lower, reach and walk a little with the back leg, with the left leg, until the thigh is more parallel. And it's a nice deep stance with the hips. Open up. Breathe. We'll take 5 breaths here. This nice deep warrior. I got 2 more. Hands to hips. Inhale up through Prasarada, really wide stance. Now take warrior two on the second side. Check out your knee, both visually of the front knee and then the sensation of the back knee, sensation of both knees. But protect the knee with all of those cues I give you. Tuck your sit bones a little more underneath you. It's easy to let the butt jut out here, but keep the sit bones lined up with your heels. 3 more breaths. Hands to hips. Inhale back to Prasarada. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Knees can bend a bit. This time, see if you can walk your hands towards being in line with your feet or even in line with your feet. As your elbows bend, they point behind you. The eyes of your elbows kind of line up and face forward. Let your head hang. Shake your head, yes. Shake your head, no. And breathe. Two more breaths. Now the next inhale, walk those fingertips out there, coming halfway up. As you exhale, bend the knees, take the hands to the thighs. As you inhale, pull the feet away from each other, rise up. Warrior two, again to the right. Swing the arms out and up, bend into the knee. And we're going to come into side angle from warrior two. Reaching to the right, fold the right forearm, laying it to rest on the right thigh. Swing your right fingertips down, bring your arm up. Tuck your right tailbone under you. Don't let your bottom stick out. A block under the hand is good here. I didn't remember to bring my blocks over. Or you can just leave the forearm to the thigh without laying all your weight there. Try to lift up. And cartwheel arms back to warrior two. Reach. Hands to hips. Moving through Prasarada to warrior two on the second side. Remembering all the alignment. Tuck the sit bones, Ischial tuberosity, so that heaviness in the tailbone will draw the sit bones under you. Reach. Pull the forearm. Swing those arms, or that arm down and up by the ear. Tuck the sit bones. Side angle. And cartwheel back up to warrior two. Hands to hips. Prasarada. We're going to take one more forward fold here. Swing your arms up. Place your hands behind your back. Shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. Push through the knuckles. Fold forward and lift the fists. Let the head hang and breathe. And bringing the fingertips to the mat, walk your feet in and come to child's pose. You may need to change your orientation or not. I mean, you can just come to child's pose where you're at. Keep the knees hip distance apart. And then lay the belly down on the thighs. Walk the arms down by the shins. Let the forehead come to the earth using a block if you need to. Let the shoulders hang. Wiggle the fingers. Circle the wrists. Feel that deep breath open up the back body. Press your hands forward. Inhale, rise up. And come to a seated position. Let's start with Dandasana. Legs out straight. You can move the flesh away from the sit bones. Hands behind you, fingers point forward, elbows bend and point back. Reach to the crown of the head. Push into the hands, lifting the ribs up away from the pelvis. Feel the lightness in the low back. And sitting up, you can always have something underneath you here to help tilt the pelvis forward, or a little bend in the knees. Pausing here. Bend the right knee. Bring the sole of the foot to the mat, and it's like you're standing up on the right foot. Sit tall. Wrapping left elbow around the knee. Maybe you keep your arms like this. Or maybe you swing the left arm back, coming onto the eagle talon hand, pushing down, rising up. And as you exhale, twist. Breathe. And inhale, overhead with the arm, unwind, open the knee out. Sole of the foot can come to the inside of the thigh or tuck the foot. Janu Shirshasana, keeping the shoulders square to the front edge of the mat. Sit tall. Keep the pelvis tilting forward. And then lead with the heart, pointing the heart towards the center of your foot. And after you get over here, you can cross the hands anywhere along the leg to help pull you forward. And as you get more to forward fold, you can work to straighten the knee a bit. Feeling that sensation in the back of the leg, not in the back, not in the low back. Inhale up. Unwind, shake the legs out. Second side. Left foot comes up. And then rise up on the sit bones like you're trying to stand on this foot. Wrap, maybe here, or swing the arm back. Eagle talon. Push down, rise up on an inhale. Exhale, twist. Breathe into the belly. And then unwinding, getting ready for Janu Shirshasana with the sole of the foot on the inside of the thigh or the foot tucked. Sitting tall so the pelvis tilts forward. You can stay here or fold. Heart is going right towards the center of the foot. So there's a little twist to this, just a little twist. You're pulling left ribs towards the right knee. Inhale up. Bend both knees. Bring the soles of the feet together. Cobbler's pose, bound angle pose. Take your shins or your ankles, pull on them to help tilt the pelvis forward. Now you've rolled yourself to the front edge, front rim of the sit bone. Feel that nice deep curve in the lumbar spine. Pausing here, sit tall on an inhale. This might be all you want today, or start to fold forward any amount. My toes are a little cold today. It's a little chilly out here. Feels good. And inhale, rise up. We're going to come down to the mat to do a little work on the mat, and then we'll come into Shavasana. I'm going to turn long ways on my mat. We're going to do some bridge poses and some twists. So I don't know how your mat's oriented right now, but I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. So returning to the back, pausing in constructive rest, feet are wide, knees come to touch, and the arms out at the sides. I wish you could see the sky. It's so pretty. Inhaling and exhaling. Tuck the shoulder blades under the back. Notice how just that little bit of a tuck with the shoulder blades opens up the front chest and really brings you more to a neutral position in the chest. If you're like me, you have a little kyphosis in the upper back, so using this and gravity to kind of open up those vertebrae, lining them back up to the way they should be. Now heel toe the feet so they're in front of the hips, in front of the sit bones really, and the knees are hip distance apart. Bring the arms to the sides, palms are down. Walk your heels a little closer. And on an inhale with those shoulders tucked, we're going to press into the feet, press into the hands, lift the hips, push the knees away. Keep the thighs reaching towards each other. If you start to feel bunched up in the neck, lift your head, tuck your chin, reach the crown of the head, and then lay your head down, making a little more space in the cervical spine. Keep breathing. And maybe you tuck your shoulders a little more, eyes up a little higher. Release the grip of your glutes. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. Soften the muscles of your face, and then exhale, reaching with the tailbone as you come down, one vertebrae at a time. Pause here in a neutral spine. Now walk your heels really close if you can. Reach down for your heels, grab your heels if you can. If you can't, it's okay, you can just lift up like we did before. Now we're going to lift up again. Tucking those shoulder blades as you come up. And maybe you come up on your tiptoes. Try to soften a little bit in the glutes. And then exhale, release the grip on the heels. The heels will come down last. Reach through the tailbone. And then the heels come down. Step the feet forward if you need to. And tuck the shoulder blades a little. Sometimes they get a little pinched back there. Now draw your knees into your chest. And you're going to swing your hips to your right. So swing and drop your knees to your left. Open your arms out in the shape of a T. Try to keep the knees stacked. Work that right arm open, shoulder drops, and the gaze goes to the right. I've got my knees going left and my gaze going right. I hope I cued that right to you guys. So whatever shape you're in, knees go one way, gaze, and the arm go the other. And soften, drop into that shoulder. And back to center. So you'll swing the hips so the spine lines up. Now swing the hips the other direction. And drop the knees in the other direction. I've got my knees to the right, my gaze to the left. And notice difference, especially the shoulders now, left and right. It's much easier for my left shoulder to really open up and drop down, which is kind of odd because I had some issues with that shoulder. The right shoulder was a little tighter. Breaths here. Bring the knees back up and swing those hips up so you can line your spine up. Maybe take a nice curl up towards the knees. Do any last minute movements you might need before Shavasana, settling into a pose to rest, and I think I'll stay down here with you today.
I'm going to bring my knees together and come into constructive rest. You decide what you want. Pause here for a few moments of stillness before you take on the day.
Listen to the sound of the chimes. Do nothing more. Listen to that vibration come to the ears and then let it go. Letting the vibration of the sound invite movement back into your body in small ways, fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Turn your head side to side, ear to ear. Feel the weight. Roll across the back of the skull, letting that lead you into a good morning stretch, followed with knees to chest, rocking from elbow to elbow. Finding your way slowly back up to a seated position. And once you get here, I'm going to teach you a tapping technique. So tapping is used to stimulate acupressure points, marma points in the body. And there's lots of different tapping methods, but this is a pretty simple one to follow. And I won't go in depth into it, but I'm going to show you the places. You start with, they call it the karate chop part of the hand. You take 2 fingers and you tap. It doesn't matter which hand. And you don't have to do both hands. Just going to tap, tap, tap. And again, you don't have to do both sides of the body, but on the face, it's easy to do both sides of the body, so I always do. Next point is right on the inside of the eyebrows, really right where the third eye is. You're going to tap, tap, tap. And then to the corners of the eyes, on the bone. It's not the temple, it's the ridge of the orbit where the eye sits, the eye socket. And then under the eye socket, so it'll be right under your pupil if your eyes were open. Now one hand to just that little indentation in your lip, your upper lip, right under the septum of your nose and above the lip. Tap. And then lower lip right above the chin, right where the chin kind of dents in. Tap. There's a point on the chest right below the collarbones next to the sternum called lung 1. So this is for the lungs. I take all 10 fingertips, tapping both sides. And you don't have to do both sides, but when it's easy, it just feels right to do both sides. And the next one is under the armpit, about 3 inches down. For women, it's right where your bra line is, so you tap. And the last one is the crown of the head, tap. And bring your hands to your lap. Find Yana Mudra again. Index finger touches thumb. Take a couple breaths here. And on your next inhale, let's reach up one more time. Oh, it's so pretty up there now. The sun's on the trees. Exhale the hands home to the heart. Now you have peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, a peaceful heart, a peaceful world, and a great Labor Day weekend. Namaste. Yoga starts up again next week at OC, so sign up for some classes. Won't have any on Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on site. See you soon. Oh, yay, 2 likes and 4 people. That's good. I can't ever see way back there if there's anybody with me or not. I appreciate you.